Today on TFL Bike, we have news in the motorcycle world. Yamaha and Ducati both dropped bikes that could not be more different. This is the weirdest pairing of two-wheeled vehicles you are ever going to see on this channel.
Yeah, that's definitely true, but we're gonna do it anyway because both these companies decided to drop a bike on the same day. So rather than making two videos, we decided we'll just give you all the news in one easy to find place. So let's jump right into the Yamaha and we'll catch the Ducati at the end of the video.
Yeah, we're gonna start with this little electric Yamaha scooter. And if you don't like that, you can just skip forward. You have that capability. So the Yamaha NEOs, let's get into it.
Yeah, this is an all-electric scooter from Yamaha, and let's just start off with that name, the NEOS name, because it's been around for some time. It started in the late 90s with some gas-powered scooters. Yamaha's since tried to dip their feet into the electric scooter market, but now they're back with it with this new NEOS. And just looking at the styling right off the bat, very round, very bubbly. We've talked about jelly bean styling here at TFL before. It kind of follows that same trend like we've seen with some of the Teslas and the Mustang Mach-E. It's very bubbly, lots of LED lights. You can tell just looking at it that it's an electric powered vehicle.
And it's got dual headlights, just like the old model, but these ones are funky and futuristic with lights that go around the outside, little ring halo lights. And this scooter is available in milky white or midnight black. And both of those colors will have some aqua blue accents. It's kind of a turquoisey color that's a mixture of Yamaha's classic racing blue and green because environment. And that color is going to be featured on all kinds of Yamaha electric two-wheeled vehicles that are being rolled out. And actually, there's going to be a lot of electric Yamaha two-wheeled vehicles being rolled out over the next year. Everything from mountain bikes with pedals to scooters larger than this one.
Yeah, so we'll just have to wait and see because we'll talk about where this is coming and the whole story on it when we get past all the specs because it's a little interesting there. But anyway, it's powered by Yamaha's integrated power unit, which is a cool name. They call it the Yipu. I don't know why I like that so much, but it's the second generation of that system. Yamaha has dipped their feet, like I said, into the electric scooter market. So they're back with it with an improved system. This is a direct drive wheel hub, air-cooled brushless motor. It's all integrated into the rear wheel. Single-sided swing arm, and the swing arm actually houses the motor control unit. And even though it's all kind of integrated into that rear wheel, even the braking components are integrated into that. It's still pretty easy, according to Yamaha, to do rear wheel swaps and tire changes. About 5 bolts, you can pull that whole system off. And then as far as the battery goes, the battery is housed under the seat. It weighs under 18 pounds and it's actually made in-house by Yamaha, which is pretty cool. It is 19.2 amp hours, charges in about 8 hours on the standard charger and will get you about 23 miles of range.
Yeah, and that's really where this is a major foil for the Ducati, a 23-mile range, although you do have the option to add a second battery to the NEOS for a 42-mile range. You can run it in standard or eco modes. The standard mode has a power output of 2 kilowatts, about 25 miles per hour, and the eco mode is 1.6 kilowatts, about 19 miles per hour, or as Yamaha describes, almost 19 miles per hour. So yeah, about as different from the Ducati we're going to get into as it gets.
Yeah, I mean, and looking at the range, that 23-mile range, or when you put the second battery in, goes up to 42-mile range. That's where you can really tell this is made for the European market. That would do just fine over there, going to work, coming back, but my commute's a lot longer than that. That is not enough range for the US market where things are a little more spread out here.
Yeah, and especially with the way that he rides. But this NEOS is really a replacement for a 50cc scooter. So it's made to satisfy that segment, and that is a really popular segment of scooter in a lot of different markets. Those smaller scooters are used to mobilize the masses, people that don't really need to go fast and people that don't really need to go far.
And people that need affordable transportation too.
Exactly.
Things are pretty affordable.
It's valid. There's also storage under the seat for a helmet, and this has KYB forks, which is pretty nifty. So it's basically no different than your MT-09.
Yeah, MT-09's got KYB forks on the front of it too. 13-inch alloy wheels, and you do have access to Yamaha's My Ride app.
Yeah, and a lot of European cities are banning small gas engines, kind of like what California did. So vehicles like this are going to be really relevant. And this is going to be available in European markets starting in May of 2022. And in the UK, it's going to be available for £3,005, which roughly translates to $3,940 US. But of course, our taxes are different, so things would just end up costing different if the scooter
transportation costs, everything.
came here. Yeah,
different market. It's going to be a different price, and we may never even see this exact model. And if we do, hopefully it'll have a little bump in specs.
But now, the Ducati. This is the Panigale V4 SP2. This is their new flagship super sport bike, and SP stands for Sport Production. This is a really impressive model. 210 horsepower, 90 pound-feet of torque from its 1,103cc Desmosedici Stradale V4.
Very nice Italian.
Yeah, I am Italian. 381 pounds dry because this has a lot of carbon components that we'll get into, and of course a standard Öhlins electronically controlled suspension. But there are a lot of special bits added to this bike to make it unique from a standard V4S.
Yeah, so the first thing you're going to get are some pretty cool looking carbon fiber wheels. You're also going to get Brembo Stylema R calipers and a World Superbike style dry clutch, which is pretty cool. The dry clutch is a super popular mod for these bikes, and with this SP2 model, it's not something you need to do after you bring the bike home. It just comes like that right from the factory, and there's some mixed feelings out there on the dry clutch.
Yeah, we like dry clutches.
We definitely do. They sound cool. They look cool. Good performance gains.
I think they sound really cool. There's a lot of people out there that think it sounds broken, but those people are normies. This is just a unique, different style, and functionally they're great. Something else that you get that I know Alex likes is you get billet race-style foot pegs from Rizoma, and that's a big brand for you sport bike guys.
Yeah, it is. Definitely a popular brand for foot pegs, mirrors, all that kind of stuff.
There's also something about this bike that I know initially when Alex saw it, he really didn't like, and I didn't have super strong feelings about it, but this matte black style and the brushed aluminum fuel tank on this bike, it does have sort of an unfinished look to it, but this livery is called the Winter Test livery.
Yeah, when I first looked at an image of this, I was like, a matte black Ducati. It looks, I don't know, kind of unfinished, but that's the point. And after realizing and looking at it a little more carefully that they're calling this the Winter Test livery, I think it makes a lot of sense. In MotoGP and World Superbike, they do all kinds of winter testing on their bikes, and they don't paint them. They don't make them all pretty. They kind of go with this matte black scheme with some decals on it. So that's exactly what they're going for. They're replicating the MotoGP and World Superbike test liveries. MotoGP just started up last weekend, so I've been watching. Really cool to see a race-inspired livery like that.
Yeah, and I think that's cool too. It's unique. I mean, most Panigales have this beautiful red paint, and the fit and finish on them is just stunning. And I mean, the fit and finish on this bike, it will still be stunning, but in a different way. And the fact that it doesn't have that flashy red paint and that it's made to look a little bit more like a test mule race bike, that's pretty cool. That's unique. It makes it stand out a little bit. You also get a single-person seat with V4 SP on it, and a really cool option for this bike is a full titanium Akrapovic exhaust, a racing exhaust that drops 11 pounds from this motorcycle, significant amount, and you also get an equally significant 18 horsepower bump and 6 pound-feet of torque.
Yeah, that's pretty notable. I mean, to drop 11 pounds and tack on 18 horsepower.
From a bike that's already pretty light. It's even got carbon wings and a carbon mudguard. And
carbon wheels.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that's making this bike light as is. So to drop an extra 11 pounds from it for a total dry weight of 370 pounds on a bike with 210 horsepower.
Yes. Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of tech on this bike like you would expect from any of the V4 Ducatis. So you have different engine settings, full, high, medium, and low. You have different riding modes, race A, race B, sport, and street. There's also a GPS module for an auto lap timer, which is pretty cool. We reviewed the Panigale V2 out in LA. That had a lap timer as well, but you had to flick the headlights. And I'll tell you, the last thing I want to think about when I'm on the racetrack is fumbling with light controls. So really cool that that's powered by GPS. You also have traction control, wheelie control, slide control, and brake control. So the full suite of Ducati tech.
Deliveries on these SP2s are expected in the fourth quarter of 2022, and as you might expect, it's not cheap. $39,500.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Is it going to be a limited run?
Yeah, so each of these is a numbered unit. Ducati didn't specify how many units they're going to make of these bikes, but each bike will have its unique number printed on it. And yeah, I mean, if you've got 40 grand, this is a pretty cool bike to spend it on. So let us know in the comments below, which one of these bikes would you rather have?
Yeah, definitely let us know that down in the comments below. And also, I'm curious your thoughts on the electric scooter. What do you think are like the minimum spec requirements if we were to get something like this here in the US? What's the minimum range you think Yamaha needs to put into one of these for it to be successful here?
Yeah,
anyway.
and again, Yamaha is also planning a 125cc competitor electric scooter that would be more usable in US market.
Yeah, so there you have it. Two just completely different bikes, polar opposite ends of the bike spectrum. But I think they'd pair pretty well together in a garage, nevertheless.
Sure, why not?
Anyway, we'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.